Hey, what's up, everyone? All right, so it's been pretty much a dead month this month. I already knew this is how Sega would do. Last month is always June. They just jam pack you with a bunch of news and, coverage on a new game they got coming out or Sonic news. And then the following month, July is always the most dead month. So I was prepared for that. I've been experimenting with shorts here and there, been posting some random shorts. I'm trying to focus a little more on shorts because, that's where a lot of the growth is at now. YouTube has changed, the algorithm has changed, so you got to keep evolving with it. But yeah, now, over the past 24 to 48 hours, we've gotten a lot of news on Sonic Superstars. And ever since that GameInformer interview with Azuka popped up, which I made a little short on that because it wasn't much. It was just describing you all the Chaos Emerald powers and the character abilities. But now we've got a lot more. So I want to talk about that and a few other stuff. But before I do, be sure to smash that like button, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's see if we can get to 100k subscribers this year. I have 93k right now, so only 7k left to go. 7,000 subscribers left until I hit 100,000. So can we get to that goal? All right, so first, there have been 9 zones that have been revealed in Sonic Superstars. Now, we all know now that there's going to be 12 zones, but now 9 zones have been confirmed. So some things to note, a game has a hub similar to Generations. So it's going to be like a hub world where you visit like Sonic Generations, although it kind of reminds me of Super Mario 3D World. The coins can be used to spend on customization. Exclusive acts work differently in the sense you can pick and choose which one you go for after Act 1. So this is kind of like Sonic 4 Episode 1 and 2 where you can pick the different acts you want to do or even different zones. We got names for 7 out of 12 zones now. Well, actually, it's 9. Bridge Island. I think this is the zones in order. Bridge Island, Speed Jungle, Pinball Carnival, Sky Temple, Press Factory, like Press Garden, Lagoon City, Sand Sanctuary, Press Factory. Okay, there's 2 presses? Oh, he repeated Press. And Golden Capital. Okay, so that's 8, not 9. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. And I'm going to get more into those zones individually. But let's talk about Trip the Lizard, the new villain or so that's teaming up with Fang the Sniper and Dr. Eggman. Now, new info on Trip. She is confirmed the lizard. All this time I thought she was a raccoon, but she's a lizard. An unfamiliar face. Before going to the next zone, I take on episode Amy, a character-specific stage in Lagoon City Zone. This fruit-themed stage lets me use Amy's hammer to blast through huge fruit and fruit-based robots, including a grape robot and a watermelon with a gun. I love how original these stages are and the badniks. Near the end of the stage, I find an armored character who looks lost. Amy offers to help this creature and the rest of the stage becomes an escort mission of sorts, with Amy carrying her unable to attack. What, so like Sonic 06 Dusty Desert with Sonic and Elise? This character is Trip, a creation of Oshima, his first new character created for the Sonic franchise in decades. Oshima worked closely with Azuka to come up with ideas for the new character. We sent visuals back and forth and had an ongoing dialogue about what the personality should be like, Oshima says. Ideas came up for the character's actions and themes, like an armored lizard and the Ouroboros. I worked on the design while discussing the ideas with Azuka-san. But now if you look at the tail, it's pretty scaly now, so yeah, I don't know why I was thinking raccoon before. Now more about Sonic Superstars. The game will have hub worlds. As the article continues, I also get a glimpse of the world map, which is reminiscent of Sonic Generations hub, where you are running around a 2D plane and selecting your zone. In addition to the various zones on offer, I also find the in-game shop where I can trade collected medals for customization parts. The menu in the build I'm playing gives me the option to acquire custom parts for head, body, arms, legs, accessories, color, pattern, and something called prototype. I'm not sure how customization will work, and Azuka plays coy when I ask him about it, so sadly I don't have any additional information on it, beyond the fact that it exists and there will be a LEGO collaboration for Sonic and Eggman skin at launch. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about that. LEGO Eggman, you get to play him. I'm pretty sure that's not the only LEGO character you'll get to play in the game. And also, there's apparently a decent amount of exclusive acts for different characters that you get to pick which one you want to play. This act is exclusive to Sonic and has Fang chase you the whole time. That is cool, man. But that makes me wonder, since this is a local co-op game and emphasizes local co-op, as I'll get into later, if there's character-specific levels, then that means there's like only one player. You're not going to play a Sonic and another character in a Sonic only zone. So if I'm playing co-op with someone, right, does that person have to watch me play a level by myself, or I have to do the same? That's kind of weird, I wonder how that's going to play out because that wasn't the case with New Super Mario Bros. Now, speaking of New Super Mario Bros., Iizuka says they played a lot of co-op platforms, including New Super Mario Bros., to get an idea of how to implement co-op into Sonic Superstars. Because during my gameplay session with Superstars, I did not get a chance to play any co-op, nor did I get any real details on its implementation. However, in talking with Sonic Team Creative Officer Takashi Iizuka, I learned he and his team played a lot of co-op platformers, he specifically mentions New Super Mario Bros. Series, to get a sense of how to accomplish implementing this feature. But adding true co-op to a Sonic game is a different beast altogether. So yeah, I wonder how they're going to utilize that in this game, you know, coming off of New Super Mario Bros. But it's nice to know that Iizuka looked to that game for reference. Also, they explain why Green Hill always came back, or basically why they always rehashed Green Hill for over a decade. Story lore. I mean, I'm not surprised. That's a good excuse that Iizuka would give. So he says, well-known stages like Green Hill have made return appearances in many games, but that's because it was necessary from a story point of view, Iizuka says. This time, Sonic Superstars is set on a brand new island that hasn't been seen before, so we plan to have all new stages from the beginning. Oh well, so long as I don't see Green Hill again for like the next 10 years, I'm cool. So more about the exclusive acts. This guy says right here, he says that they're optional. Now, following my time getting to know Sonic Superstars through the opening zone, I used the rest of my hands-on hours to see what other locales this game has to offer. Speed Jungle Zone Act 1 offers vines both to grind on and to send you flying upward, alongside a mosquito robot boss fight that fires harpoons that stick in the ground so you can run up and attack. We saw that during the whole Summer Games Fest last month. During Act 1, I even grabbed the Red Chaos Emerald, which adds bullet to my arsenal of emerald powers, enabling me to blast quickly in one direction, kind of like the Red Burst Wisp. It initially doesn't feel as important as Avatar, but I'm sure I'll find a use for it in the future. No, I think Slow Emerald is going to be the most useless one, only for people who really suck at platforming and need to slow things down. After completing Act 1, I'm given the option to play Act 2 or a different section called Act Sonic. This alternate act of Speed Jungle Zone lets you run through the stage of Sonic, but with Fang terrorizing you the whole way. I don't get any additional context as to what incentivizes you to play the seemingly optional, more challenging stage, which ends in a chase scene where you need to run away from Fang, but it feels like there may be some reason to complete these character-specific levels. Okay, so there's going to be character-specific levels and they're optional. Also, speaking of optional, there's going to be a mandatory long level, kind of like Sonic Heroes. So that Sky Zone we saw in the pictures today, it's called Sky Temple Zone. It's only one act, but it's a long one. The article says, I'm on to Sky Temple Zone. Just as Bridge Island Zone takes cues from other iconic starting zones in Sonic history, Sky Temple Zone takes some inspiration from Sky Sanctuary Zone from Sonic 3 Knuckles, of course, but with different badniks and even a repeated mini-game reminiscent of the classic game Breakout, where your character becomes a ball and you need to aim to break through various bricks. Sky Temple Zone is unique in that Act 1 takes me around 9 minutes to complete, but is the only act of the zone. I like how they're taking a lot of inspiration from the classics, even though it's not rehashing, because we all know Sky Sanctuary Zone and Sonic 3 Knuckles is one act, but it's a pretty lengthy act because you fight like Mecha Sonic like 3 times, so it's pretty lengthy. I don't think it's 9 minutes long, that would go to Death Egg Zone, but it's pretty lengthy and it's one act, so I think that's what they did here. But man, that Sonic Heroes length. And also, Sonic Superstars doesn't operate on a traditional life system, so that's good. You know, I always said that was an archaic thing that needed to end, so I'm glad they didn't do that. Especially for a lot of the casuals that suck at this, you know, like IGN were complaining how hard Superstars was, so good thing it doesn't have game overs. We don't need IGN to be having 13 game overs or something like that. Now the Pinball Zone, let's talk about that now. Now the Pinball Zone says since the early game, Sonic's journeys have brought him to several pinball themed stages, and that tradition carries on through the aptly named Pinball Carnival Zone. The zone is largely self-explanatory with a giant pinball area and fast sequences with fireworks setting off. True to the theme, the Act 1 boss is a clown robot. Here you need to flip medallions it places in the battleground to stun it. Dodging its bombs can be a little tricky while you're trying to spin the remaining medallions during the later placements. I used the bullet emerald power to reach some of the trickier spots, but it's a rather straightforward affair. For Pinball Carnival Zone Act 2, I switched to Tails. The yellow fox can fly and attack from below, but that doesn't do me as much as good in this stage. Act 2 of this zone transitions the area to nighttime, with a haunted carnival theme emerging and the badniks taking on a ghostly aesthetic. This act also adds platforms that fly forward, with some sequences requiring you to jump between them to survive. At the end of Act 2, I take on Eggman once again. This time he brings a roulette wheel, which he uses to throw bombs my way. After avoiding his attacks, I use the wheel to catapult myself at him, but he protects himself with ghost spirits, similar to a shield at the end of Metropolis Zone in Sonic 2. I dispatch him in relatively short order and continue my tour of superstars. And then the next one, Lagoon City, with its submerged city ruins and multitude of water slides, awaits me. I'm typically not a fan of water levels, so I'm thankful I brought Tails since he can swim. Act 1 takes place mostly above water and ends with a battle against a jellyfish robot that spawns smaller robots and can electrocute the water. Act 2 transitions to include some fully underwater sequences, which I wish I had a chance to play as someone other than Tails. I'm interested to learn how easy or difficult they are without the ability to swim. The Act 2 boss of Lagoon City puts you against Eggman and a Crusher machine. After he floods the arena, you need to avoid his drill attacks to damage him. In the first phase, this is a vertical fight, but it transitions to a horizontal battle in the second phase. But alright, that's just some info on stages, and then there's another one. Yeah, I pretty much covered this, and then it talks about another stage. But yeah, that's a lot of information on Sonic Superstars. So yeah, can't wait to play it. I wish they announced, a release date. I'm starting to think that it's not coming out on October 17th because that's less than 3 months from now, and Sega still hasn't mentioned it. Whereas we know the release date of Mario Bros. Wonder and Spider-Man 2, and both of them are coming out on October 20th. So I don't know. I don't know why Sega always likes to delay, announcing a release date. Unless they're going to delay Superstars, which I doubt. But yeah, on another note, I want to talk about a little Ian Flynn controversy that's been going on Sonic Twitter. Or should I call it Sonic X now? Because Elon Musk has called it X. Nah, I'm not calling it Sonic X. That's too cool for you guys. I'm calling you motherfuckers Sonic Twitter. Alright, here's something that I want to play that Ian Flynn says in his Bumblecast.
If you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s and you don't find this surface level approach fully satisfying, go read adult material.
Now, because of this, some people are like, yes, Sonic has always been for kids ages 6 to 11. Should never be for everyone else or for older people. It's always for kids. If you want older stuff, go read other books, play other games. And my problem with this is that this is the reason why Sonic has been in the gutter trash for decades when it comes to tone and story, especially. Because there's still brand confusion between the fans and with Sega. Sonic has always been for the family. It's not a kids franchise only. Because then what the fuck's the point of Sonic Frontiers? That's the part that confuses me. Sonic has always been for everyone. There's some things, of course, that are for kids, like, Sonic Prime. And that's the main reason why I haven't finished watching Season 2. Because it's a little too childish for me. But then you have something like Sonic Frontiers, which Kishimoto himself said that he wanted it for the older crowd. I'm going to pull up a previous interview where he confirms that, since a lot of you Sonic fans like to act like you have amnesia or selective memory. So this is from last year. Someone asked Kishimoto, by the way, I think that a melancholy story is different from Sonicness, but did you intentionally do that? Kishimoto says, that's right. With the intention of raising the target audience, we made it a serious story. Rather than boys, we are aiming for a story that sticks to adolescents and older. That's the kind of story that differentiates it from other action games. I remember reading this in one of my multiple Sonic Frontiers videos last year. I don't know why people have forgotten that. And Spidey always spits facts when it comes to Sonic. He says, this just sounds so tone deaf, and people ask why I dropped IDW comics. For a fact that this series is for all ages, and this makes absolutely zero sense coming from Ian, who just wrote the dialogue for Frontiers, which story was intended to be appealing to teens and older audiences. Let's be honest now, whose kid is seriously waking up and saying, I can't wait to buy the next IDW Sonic issue in 2023? Who are you talking to about Sonic on Twitter? Who are you meeting at conventions? You ain't meeting no kid, you're meeting teens and adults. I mean, I can argue that you're also meeting kids, but a lot of the core fan base of Sonic is also, teens and older. I can understand saying something about how Sonic can't kill and kids shouldn't see that, but Ian Flynn, let's not act like this series is only for kids and not for teens and adults as well. Saying you shouldn't be expecting this from a kid's book makes absolutely no sense and is extremely tone deaf when you consider all the mature topics the series has explored, especially after you yourself just worked on Frontier's story, which aimed for older audiences. This ain't Bluey. This is a series that's proven time and time again that it's for all ages and can explore mature themes. As for Death, let's not act like one of the biggest moments for the second most popular character in the series isn't seeing his best friend get shot to death, talking about Maria Robotnik. And the thing is that I get what he's trying to say, but he said it in the absolutely worst way possible. Saying, oh, it's for kids, go read something else, is so bad it makes it look to any outsider that you're hiding behind that to excuse bad writing. Just saying, killing doesn't fit Sonic's morals would have been the way better approach and wouldn't alienate most of your fans who are, let's be real, teens and adults. They're not kids. You know, I have to agree with him because, like, what's funny is that Flynn literally killed off Dr. Starline in the IDW comics, which I think was a mistake because the series fell off right after that. I mean, killing off a character, that doesn't seem something geared for kids age 6 to 11. But yeah, I feel like there's been just brand confusion with Sonic. People don't know how to strike a balance with the series. And that's where Sonic Rebound comes in. You know, it strikes a balance. You know, if you look at the trailers are pretty serious and dark, aiming for adolescents and older. You know, it's very PG, especially with the most recent episode, episode 6. But I don't know, you know, what do you guys think about all this? Let me know down in the comments below. And also, what do you think about all the Sonic Superstars news? Also, today, July 26th, marks the 4th anniversary of my show, Sonic Rebound. Can't believe it's been 4 years since I've been working on this show. And right now we are working on episodes 7 and 8. I'm hoping both of those episodes come out next year. Yeah, because I really want this series to wrap up in the next like 4 years. And if you're watching this now, I've also made a community post about that. And I've also posted some character sheets of Knuckles, Silver, Tails, Amy, because they're going to return in the next 2 episodes. So looking forward to that. And yeah, I'm also planning on a preview of episode 7 to come out sometime next month in August. Hopefully I'll have enough footage for that, so we'll see. But stay tuned for all the Rebound news. I know you guys are looking forward to that. Alright guys, that's all I have for now. So take care, and until next time, I'm out.